The vibrant nightlife offers more than mere distraction. It creates a sense of belonging, a brotherhood formed under the fluorescent glow of club lights and the intoxicating aroma of street food vendors that line the avenues. The nightlife is not just an escape from the rigor of academia. It's a new classroom where lessons of life, love, and survival are learned in a language as universal as music. In these late hours, the city transforms into a veritable tapestry of experiences, each thread woven from laughter and lost inhibitions. As the sun dips below the horizon, the sidewalks come alive with the clicks of heels, laughter echoing off the walls of side streets, and the distant thump of bass beats pulsing like a heartbeat, compelling dancers on rooftops to sway in unison. There's an electric energy in the air, charged with the thrill of countless possibilities. Friends huddle together, sharing stories and hopes, their futures suspended in the flickering glow of neon signs that promise liberation from mediocrity. The very act of stepping out into the nightlife feels like grasping the reins of destiny, a choice that may seem impulsive yet decisively empowering. In this world, the notion of time is warped. Hours blend into one another as night drags on. With each drink lifted to lips, with every song that reverberates through the soul, the young find themselves redefined in the company of fellow revelers who become instant confidants. Secrets are spilled between mouthfuls of spicy kebabs, and dreams are painted on the walls of smoke-filled lounges where ambitions roll off tongues along with laughter and burgeoning hope. The thrill of living in the moment, of relinquishing the past and dismissing the uncertainties of the future creates an intoxicating atmosphere that clouds judgment. Yet, amid the elation, the shadows of reality linger. The allure of nightlife comes with a price, the sobering moments often shrouded in the smoke-filled corners of bars, where vulnerability and regret can hide behind a facade of joy and camaraderie. While some dance joyfully, others wrestle with anxiety about choices made in the heat of the moment. Conversations often drift toward what could have been, diplomas left unearned, family expectations unfulfilled. As the city spins into an intoxicatingly chaotic rhythm, friendships are forged on the dance floor, yet some drift like half-forgotten songs by the end of the night. The thrill is often accompanied by a double-edged sword. The camaraderie formed under the flashing strobe lights can quickly dissipate when dawn breaks, sorrow creeping into the heart. Despite the heartaches and fleeting connections, the nightlife remains a potent force, drawing in the young and the restless, a siren call that seduces with promises of freedom, even as it risks imprisoning them in cycles of escapism. As they embrace the vibrant tapestry of their nights, these dreamers live a paradoxical existence, each revelry a glittering moment of joy, a temporary reprieve from the weight of reality that awaits with every sunrise. As the neon lights pulse like a heartbeat, echoing the rhythm of the city outside, students gather in the corners of dimly lit lounges and crowded dance floors, feeling the magnetic pull of nightlife. Within these walls, their laughter and shouts blend with the beats pouring from the speakers, creating an atmosphere electrified with possibility. The allure of the nightlife, with its promise of wild escapades and genuine connection, becomes a siren song that drowns out the monotony of textbooks and lectures. Each thumping bass drop serves as a reminder of what lies beyond the confines of classroom walls, a world bursting with experiences waiting to be savored. Underneath the surface, the struggle is palpable. It's not just about late-night revelry, but about dreams deferred and aspirations misaligned with academic obligation. A growing number of students stand at a crossroads, whispering their fears to one another over clinking glasses. The thrill of impromptu plans and spontaneous adventures begins to overshadow the structured routine of lectures and assignments, transforming the classroom into a cage that restricts their burgeoning spirits. With each missed class and overlooked assignment, a question lingers in the air. What is the value of knowledge that doesn't feed the desire for living, for experiencing life to its fullest? Dropout stories swell in. Numbers, each one resonating with a mixture of exhilaration and trepidation as friends decide to pursue alternative paths rather than traditional degrees. The intoxicating atmosphere of clubs, house parties, and underground raves beckons with a sense of belonging and self-expression, enticing students to trade in their academic pursuits for the pulse of the nightlife scene. In these moments, the acceptance found within the vibrant community seems more enriching than the triumphs of grades and academic accolades. There's an unspoken understanding among them. The world outside these walls is expanding, and it looks so much more inviting than seated lectures and library stacks. As each weekend lures them deeper into the realm of nocturnal adventures, the division between ambition and academic responsibility grows wider. They share stories of unforgettable nights, whispered secrets in the ear of the crowd, and the rush of dancing like no one is watching. Yet beneath the surface of this, collective euphoria, seeds of doubt, take root. Each choice to stay out late and forgo another day of study weighs heavily on their shoulders. The thrill of discovery battles against the daunting reality of the futures they may be sacrificing, a delicate dance between passion and practicality. Yet, amid the revelry, a shared silent acknowledgement persists. The thrill of new experiences cannot solely replace the foundational knowledge education promises. Inside, they grapple with their decisions, pulling away from preconceived notions of success that once defined their paths. In this vibrant yet exhausting world, they come to realize that every choice carries its own weight, and with that awareness comes a veil of uncertainty, an exciting yet daunting prospect of forging futures that may not involve the familiar comfort of a degree they once thought was paramount. No longer burdened by the rigid schedules and expectations that school imposed, young adults eagerly dive into the ebb and flow of nightlife, where the thrill of each evening feels like a new awakening. Clubs, with their pulsating beats and kaleidoscopic lights, transform from mere venues into realms of liberation, where inhibitions melt away and the outside world fades into a distant echo. This is where laughter rings louder, where conversations feel deeper, and where every glance shared across a crowded room ignites a spark of possibility. Each night becomes a canvas, painted with the vibrant hues of friendship, spontaneity, and an insatiable hunger for experience. As they transition into this exhilarating lifestyle, there's an unspoken understanding among them, a collective bond forged in the fires of adventure. Conversations flow effortlessly, punctuated by gales of laughter and moments of candid vulnerability shared over cocktails and late-night fries. They become each other's safety nets, holding each other up as they navigate the chaotic streets and dimly lit corners of their new playground. The thrill that pulses through their veins is not just from the intoxicating drinks, but from the shared memories they create. Impromptu dance-offs, rooftop celebrations under the stars, and heart-to-heart talks that stretch into the early hours of dawn. In these carefree moments, the concept of time morphs into something fluid, almost irrelevant. Responsibilities, deadlines, and societal expectations slip away, leaving behind a visceral sense of freedom that most have only dreamed of. The spark of youth ignites a desire to live fully, unashamedly, as they weave their narratives into the fabric of the city's nightlife. Here, they are more than just individuals. They become a collective force of energy that can light up even the darkest corners of the night. They spin tales of late-night escapades that grow grander with each retelling, weaving themselves into the lore of their friend group. Yet, as the nights stretch on, a subtle undercurrent of apprehension begins to thread through the laughter. While they bask in the euphoria of the here and now, whispers of uncertainty linger just beyond the burnished glow of the dance floor. Though the intoxicating allure of the nightlife shines bright, questions of sustainability and future aspirations beckon like shadows at dusk. Amid the camaraderie and the euphoric adventures, there are late-night moments of introspection, quiet contemplations over a half-empty bottle, where the thrill of living in the present can feel momentarily eclipsed by the weight of unformed dreams and untraveled paths. Through it all, they find themselves at a crossroads, teetering between the exhilaration of the night and the dawning reality of a world that demands more than fleeting moments. Their journeys become tapestries woven with threads of passion and hedonism, adorned with both triumphs and growing pains. As laughter echoes around them, they begin to question: will the thrill of tonight still resonate tomorrow? Is this the vibrant dream they desire to live indefinitely, or merely a chapter in an unfolding saga that holds a different tale of belonging and purpose in the light of day? As the hours stretched into the early morning, the music that once felt like an electrifying pulse began to dull into a numbing drone. The familiar faces at the club, once masks of joy and freedom, transformed into reflections of fatigue and melancholy. Nights that had been drenched in the thrill of spontaneity now faded into weary routines. The forward allure of the nightlife, indulging in the sweetest moments of oblivion, was starting to sour, exposing the raw edges of reality. Empty champagne bottles piled up, serving as reminders of celebrations that never quite met their promise. Among the throngs of dancers, bodies bounced to an invisible rhythm of uncertainty. Some friends remained enthralled by the rhythm, oblivious to the creeping despair that shadowed their every move. Yet, for others, the weight of choices made was becoming unbearable. Conversations that once bubbled with laughter shifted to strained rhetoric about the future. Evening chats over loud music became hushed exchanges as subtle glances sidled in layer upon layer of unspoken dread. Where there had been dreams under starlit skies, now hovered clouds of worry. Expenses began to mount with startling rapidity. The financial independence that had seemed so liberating transformed into a heavy burden. Rents were due, bills piled high, and the thrill of spending cash on a night out slowly came crashing down with the realization of diminishing returns. The carefree spending habits cultivated in the euphoria of nightlife clashed mercilessly with the reality of survival. Their peers, sporting degrees and structured lives, became a constant reminder of a path not taken. Each social media update of graduation caps flung into the air felt like a personal affront, a punch to the gut, a reminder that while they danced, others were building futures. Feelings of inadequacy seeped in, wearing away any semblance of confidence. Relationships strained under the weight of mounting expectations. Friends who once rallied together to celebrate the endless night now stood in sharp contrast to those ensnared in self-doubt. Parents who championed youthful rebellion began to voice concern, their love overshadowed by fear for futures left in limbo. Words once full of support now turned to warnings, amplifying the inner turmoil. Loneliness crept in. Despite the bustling environment, as familiar voices became distant echoes. As the clock ticked, the once bright lights of the club dimmed in comparison to the uncertainty that loomed ever closer. What had begun as an intoxicating escapade now felt more akin to paying penance for the sacrifices made. The laughter that had filled the air with hope now echoed with regret, reverberating off the walls like a melancholic reminder of what they had exchanged for freedom. Each encounter layered with nostalgia tainted by the bittersweet realization that life was happening beyond these four walls. In the expanse of revelry, a silent awakening brewed, the moment of clarity that compelled them to contemplate a horizon blurred by indulgence. The delicate balance between living for the thrill of now and grappling with the responsibilities of later loomed large, demanding urgency and introspection. Racing hearts could not drown out the whisper of looming consequences, now a chorus that beckoned, attention. The journey of rediscovering purpose often begins in unexpected places, where the shadows of the past meet the flickering lights of new possibilities. In urban neighborhoods that buzz with life, Where laughter mingles with the echoes of past revelries, individuals start to reconnect with their inner drive. The clang of metal tools, the rustling of books, and the soft hum of conversation in community centers serve as reminders of commitments once made. Here, they find sanctuary. Space where the missteps of their youth transform into stepping stones toward a more enlightened future. It is in these spaces, among those who share similar histories, that the yearning for stability calls forth the resilience buried beneath layers of choice and consequence. With the heavy weight of past decisions still fresh, many explore education not simply as a means to a job, but as a route to reclaim lost aspirations. Programs designed specifically for those who danced on the fringes of nightlife now offer classes on entrepreneurship, technology, and wellness. Tethered to the rhythm of life outside their previous escapades, participants engage wholeheartedly, acknowledging that learning, however delayed, is a powerful elixir. Each lesson learned reveals hidden strengths and talents, igniting a spark that had long been smoldering. There are artists rediscovering their crafts, writers weaving narratives that reflect their journeys, and innovators driven to create solutions from their lived experiences. A sense of camaraderie blossoms as connections deepen. Sharing stories of struggle and triumph becomes a balm that soothes old wounds. This newfound fellowship fosters accountability. They cheer one another on, guiding each other toward their respective goals. Mentorship programs emerge as beacons of hope, a bridge between the world of dreams and the reality of making them tangible. In those quiet moments of one-on-one guidance, mentors share wisdom gleaned from their own pathways, illustrating that the road is rarely straight. Each discussion stirs motivation, offering essential tools for personal development that encompass emotional, intellectual, and social growth. As mentors weave the threads of knowledge into the fabric of their mentees' lives, a profound transformation takes place. Maturity intertwined with newfound possibilities. Communities rally around those seeking a second chance, organizing workshops and events that celebrate resilience and personal stories. From open mic nights to art exhibits that highlight individual journeys, the narrative shifts from tales of escape to chronicles of revival. The public acknowledges that the past does not define the future. Rather, it enriches the scope of personal narratives, providing lessons that shape ambitions. Amid these changes, individuals begin to construct a life that honors both adventure and fulfillment. Each step toward their aspirations resembles a dance, a delicate balance between freedom and responsibility. They learn to appreciate the richness of their experiences, using those colors to paint their future. With each decision shaped by a combination of hope and insight, the landscape of tomorrow begins to shimmer, a canvas alive with potential, waiting for them to fill it with purpose. As the sun began to set, casting a warm golden hue over the city, the young adults found themselves at the cusp of a metamorphosis. Their footsteps echoed on the pavement, reverberating with laughter and the sounds of a world they once inhabited solely for its fleeting pleasures. But now, every bar and club they passed was not just a reminder of wild nights lost to revelry. It was a portal to opportunities previously overlooked. They carried with them a newfound understanding that each space held the potential for connection, not just with one another, but with a future that longed to be shaped by their passions. In the sprawling downtown district, they gathered at a chic lounge that had transitioned from a hotspot for hedonism to a hub of innovation. This was the new landscape where creativity met aspiration. The dimly lit room buzzed with conversation. Young entrepreneurs exchanged ideas over artisanal cocktails, while aspiring artists found inspiration in the unexpected synergy of their surroundings. This fusion of nightlife and entrepreneurial spirit ignited a spark within their souls. Where once they had danced the night away, now they engaged in dialogues that illuminated new pathways for success. Instead of orchestrating moments of escape marked by excess, they began to curate experiences that celebrated clarity and purpose. One of them, Mia, found herself leading workshops that merged elements of mindfulness with the exuberance of nightlife. She would invite her friends to transform their former habits into something worthwhile, engaging reluctant mentors and established professionals. Together, they'd dissect the lessons learned from nights spent, in a haze of euphoria, repurposing them as anecdotes of resilience and growth. On another evening, Jake, who had always displayed a flair for performance, donned a new role as a host for networking events. He blended the adrenaline of a DJ set with the seriousness of speeches from industry leaders. His infectious energy kept guests engaged, and spirited discussions erupted like lively bursts of joy. The atmosphere thrummed with the pulsing energy of possibility, a far cry from the hollow tones of past escapades. They weren't just participants in these events, they were creators, crafting a narrative that integrated their love for adventure with their ambitions. Yet, the journey was not without its challenges. In moments of doubt, they reminisced about the careless abandon of yesteryears, grappling with the question of whether they could truly leave behind the joys of superficial existence. Through this negotiation between past and present, each member of the group discovered the profound truth that they didn't have to choose one over the other. Education became an enticing adventure in itself, an invitation to explore uncharted territories of the mind and heart. Their growth was palpable, as their conversations shifted from the trivial to the substantial. They became pioneers, setting the course for a new era of engagement where passion intertwined with purpose, enabling them not to erase their history, but to enhance it. The clubs of their youth transformed into stages upon which they could build lives woven with meaning and fulfillment. The exhilaration of their pasts was not discarded. Instead, it was woven into the very fabric of their journeys forward, shaping a vibrant tapestry where each thread told the story of their dreams coming to life.